Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony. My name is Emily Hiles, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Navy is Lieutenant Felicity de Fombelle. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. The live stream of this ceremony is made possible by the Returned and Services League of Australia and the RSL and Services Clubs Association. We welcome members who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and students on behalf of Beaumont Hills Public School visiting from Beaumont Hills, New South Wales. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are one and free. With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is but by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved. And here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 103,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament. Flowers of the forest, wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today we remember and pay tribute to Private Henry Warren. Henry Warren was born in March 1897 to Henry and Elizabeth Warren. He had 6 siblings: James Joseph, John Ross, Margaret Agnes, Richard, Mary and Alice. They lived in Kiama on the Illawarra coast of New South Wales, where Henry and his siblings attended the local convent school. After finishing school, Henry worked in the state-owned quarries in Kiama as a labourer. He supported his entire family, giving his mother his wage of £5 and 10 shillings every fortnight. Henry Warren enlisted in the Australian Imperial Force on the 30th of November 1915 in Kiama. He joined the Waratah Recruitment March from Nowra to Sydney, arriving at the Domain on the 17th of December 1915. He was assigned to the 16th Reinforcements of the 1st Infantry Battalion and began training at camp in Liverpool. On his enlistment forms, Warren promised to send 3 shillings a day home to his mother. He departed Sydney on the 1st of April 1916 on HMAT SS Macquarie, arriving in Marseille in France on the 17th of May 1916 after a brief stopover in Egypt. In France, Warren joined the Australian Division Base Depot at Étaples on the 20th of May 1916 and trained for service at the front. He joined the 1st Battalion on the front line on the 18th of June. The 1st Battalion spent a week in the trenches at Fleur Bay before moving behind the lines to provide close support. During this time, Warren wrote home to his parents and to Maggie Hanrahan, the sister of his best friend and fellow Waratah, John Hanrahan. I've had a bit of a scrap at the Germans and am now out of the trenches for a fortnight spell and can assure you I am making the best of it. We do about 3 hours work a day and sleep the rest, not because we don't want it, for in the trenches we only get about 3 hours sleep, and very often when old Fritz goes mad and starts to bombard, not even 3. We all have to get out of our dugout then and into the bay, as it is not safe when Fritz starts sending the whiz-bangs over. In his letter to Maggie, he reflected again on the welcome change of conditions after leaving the trenches. At the time of writing, I am billeted at a very pretty little town not very far behind the firing line. After having spent a while in the trenches, I can assure you the spell is very acceptable. After sleeping with all your clothes and equipment on, night after night, it seems funny to get into a bed in a proper manner again. But nevertheless, it is very nice. The 1st Battalion remained behind the line at Fleur Bay until the 4th of July. They then moved closer to Beaulieu before travelling by train to the Somme region. The battalion arrived at Contalmaison on the 19th of July, ready to participate in the planned Allied offensive at the ruined French village of Poisières. The major offensive began just after midnight on the 23rd of July. Over the next 42 days, the Allies would launch 19 separate attacks against German positions in and around the village. Although successful, the offensive was costly. In the first 4 days of fighting alone, the 1st Australian Division suffered 5,285 casualties. Among them was Henry Warren. Warren's battalion was involved in the first waves of the assault on the German trenches on the 23rd of July, 1916. He survived the initial charge and was successful in capturing the first German trenches. Writing to Mrs. Warren following the battle, Warren's friend Benjamin Leggett explained how Henry had died. "We were all right until we had to get into another trench to reinforce another company. The trench was knocked in and your Harry was covered up, and when he got him out, he was dead." Henry's body was buried somewhere in the area surrounding Poitiers after the battle, but he has no known grave. He is commemorated at the Villers-Bretonneux Memorial in France, along with his best friend, John Hanrahan. Henry was 19 years old. Private Henry Warren's name is listed on the Roll of Honour on my right, among the almost 62,000 Australians who died while serving in the First World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Private Henry Warren, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Lest we forget.
Lest we forget. We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Pozières or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the last post ceremony. On behalf of our director, staff and volunteers, thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial today. We wish you all a very pleasant evening.